Rachel did an amazing job, as she always does. I felt she was very present. Yeah, very present with me. She, asked a lot of great questions. Yeah, I felt very understood.
We have, as usual, our attendees pouring in. So go ahead, Magda, with your message for everybody.
Thank you. We have a public service announcement today. Here's a public service. So all of you know our wonderful Cindy. You know all the wonderful ladies on the screen today, obviously. But Cindy is starting 2 new programs soon, and I wanted to give her a little bit of promotion because I know she will not promote herself because she's, oh, I'm a great trainer. No, she's an amazing, amazing educator, an amazing coach, an amazing mentor. And she does a few programs during the year, but they don't come by often. So the 2 that she is starting very soon are Foundation and Mastery. So if you want to get your ACC and if you want to get your MCC. So the quick one is MCC. If you already have your ICF credentials, you know the ladder, you get the drill, you know the steps. And being a master coach, like Cindy is, and our speakers in this series are, it's pretty cool from many, many perspectives. And Cindy, I believe, has mentored more people to mastery than literally any other human on the planet. And that's a fact. You can call ICF and they will pull their records. So if you want to be mentored by a person who literally knows the most of what they are doing about mastery, she's the person to be working with. So if you're not working with her, what are you doing? So that's mastery. The other one that she's starting is Foundation. So Cindy did a couple foundations in the past, I would say 2 years, but this is after a long break. And now she's back at it. And what's really cool about her programs is that they attract a lot of people who are in very professional roles that will utilize coaching as part of their job. So while, Cindy is going to be making anybody into a great coach, especially if you work in an organization or if you want to, refer a colleague who works in a capacity where they will coach as part of their job, I think this is a great opportunity to refer somebody into Coacharya for Foundation because the group tends to kind of form around that. So in addition to being great foundational training for ACC, it's also great for networking. And you get to kind of, test the waters in your job as you're learning to be a coach. So the benefits are endless. Of course, I have to be clear. All of our foundation courses are amazing, okay? So no FOMO, please, if you don't get to work with Cindy. Kamal, for example, is wonderful, but very different. So always, join us. We will help you out. But Cindy is the one who's up next. So I really, really hope that you join her program. And if you have questions or you're ready to join or you want to refer someone, you can always email me, of course, but support@coacharya.com is where you can reach us for any and all questions, including registering with Cindy for Mastery, for Foundation, for any of them. So that's my thank you, Coacharya host, i.e. Kamal, support@coacharya.com. And yes, I am back after a long break. You know what? Kind of want to say thank you as well for those of you who answered that webinar survey, because what was really, really cool for me personally and made my ego go a little bit poof was that a few of you wrote that you liked me being at the webinars at the start. So that was pretty nice. It felt nice and warm. So anyway, when appropriate and when I'm allowed, I'll come back. Anyway, that's it. That's the public service announcement. Join Cindy. Yay.
Thank you, Magda. Thank you so much. And today, you see Cindy is joining us from somewhere in the Mediterranean while she is on her cruise. So you will definitely hear from her at some point of time. But today, as you all know, is a live coaching session, and we are joined by our coach for the day, Rachel Dungan, and the client, Julie, who will soon introduce themselves. Before they do, I would like to invite you all to let us know where you're joining us from. We on the screen, all of us ladies sort of represent 4 different continents today. So it's pretty inclusive, pretty diverse space we are holding for everybody. Keep sharing with us. And I would also like to introduce Yamini, who is also from Coacharya, and she'll be moderating the chat for everybody today. So welcome, Yamini, as well. And without much ado, I would like to hand it over to Rachel. Rachel, welcome. And please take it over, introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, thank you, Kamal. So this is a Guess the Accent competition, and my accent is Irish, and that castle behind me is not where I live, but it is in the town where I live. So I'm not responsible for the heating bills, thank goodness. So I'm from Lismore in County Waterford in Ireland. I am a pharmacist and a coach, and I have been in 2022, I've been under the beautiful care and tuition and guidance of Cindy in the Mastery Program. So if you are considering going on that journey yourself, you can see I'm still alive, and this is and it's been a wonderful journey. So that has leadership, well-being, lifestyle, medicine, all of these kinds of things are kind of my gig. So I really enjoy all of those aspects of working with people and helping us to lead at our best in every sense. So that is a brief introduction to me. Julie, the continent you represent is?
The continent I represent is Europe. Is Australia, actually. But I live in Europe. I live in Switzerland, in Zurich. I've known Rachel for a number of years. We've been coaching together. We first met on a training course some years ago. I work as a business manager in the finance industry here in Zurich. And my main responsibilities are around recruiting and training for my team. So very happy to be here today and be part of this live demo.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. So we are going to dive into a coaching session for about 40 or 45 minutes, and then we'll have an opportunity to have questions and answers afterwards, or questions and questions afterwards, however it pans out. And I think, as you say, if you've got things that come up as we go along, you can pop them into the chat or save them for after we have completed our coaching session. So without any further ado, I might check in with you, Julie, considering that we're here together. We do have an audience. Before we dive into our coaching, is there anything that you need to be fully present?
Yes, Rachel, thanks for asking. I wouldn't mind if we could do perhaps a grounding or centering kind of exercise, just to be part of just to land. And I guess the other thing I might mention is I would actually like to I probably will turn off my camera because I have had eye surgery recently, which, well, that will be the topic of conversation. But it's it's a little bit of a strain to focus on the video. So if that's fine, I'm going to turn myself off camera.
Perfect. Let's do that then, and I might do the same. So you'll notice that the short-haired version of Rachel is on the camera rather than the long-haired version. All right, Julie. So have you something in mind that, as a grounding exercise, that you'd like us to do together?
No, happy for you to guide it, as I know you do have quite a number of exercises up your sleeve.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's do maybe 2 minutes or so of PQ reps that we've done before. So anybody in the audience as well that wants to join us to arrive into this space with us, you're very welcome as well. So if you are in a comfortable space, and it's safe to do so, I know it is for you, Julie, I'd invite you just to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And bring your attention to your breath. And notice as you breathe in through your nose, if that's possible for you. Notice the temperature of the air on the inhale and the temperature of the air on the exhale. And then as you continue to breathe in and out, bring your attention to your fingers and maybe even rub the fingertips against one another with such attention that you could feel the ridges of the fingers as they come in contact with one another. And then as you continue to do that, maybe stroke your palms against one another and notice the temperature, the sensations, sense of touch as you do that. And maybe bring your attention back to your breath. Inhaling through your nose and imagining your breath going all the way down to your feet. And noticing your toes. Noticing your big toe, second toe, middle toe, fourth toe, baby toe. And notice their contact with whatever surface they're in contact with. And as you continue to notice your breath, take a long, slow inhale and a longer, slower exhale. And whenever you're ready, you can let me know when you're ready to begin.
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah. So I know you've given some thought to what your topic is for today, Julie. But I'm curious to know what it is, given that we have about 40 minutes together.
Okay. So my topic is, as I mentioned, I had my eyes lasered recently, a couple of weeks ago, And what I noticed, and the surgery went all fine and everything. What I noticed though is since about Thursday of last week, I've been having real difficulty looking at the screen, the computer screen at work. My phone, to read. And I had the impression that earlier last week it was better because I was at work earlier in the week, and I could, although it was a little bit blurry, I could make it out. But then come Thursday, I could hardly see anything on the screen. I had to sort of really zoom and magnify the screen a couple of 100% to even make it out. And I noticed that I was having some perhaps negative self-talk, I guess we call it that, about it, or maybe berating myself or telling myself, oh, I should have done this or I shouldn't have done that, and maybe that would have helped my eyes, maybe because of what I did or I didn't do, I'm in this situation. Yes, so that's what I would like to just explore today.
Yeah, it seems that the last couple of weeks have brought up a lot of different contexts for you, and feelings and emotions by the sounds of it as well. How are you feeling?
How about what I've been through, about the procedure, you mean, or now?
Right now, or whichever feels right, but either or both.
Well, right now I'm feeling good. I'm quite calm and relaxed, despite knowing there are lots of people listening. But well, obviously the surgery was a little bit scary, but it was fine, and I got through it. And there were times though during the recovery where I was a little bit like, not that I was questioning myself if I'd done the right thing. I know that I did. It was just a little bit of a, at times not being able to. So that did sometimes bring up a little bit of, would probably be the best way to describe it. And when I had this, now I'm not, now I feel like I'm not seeing quite as well as I did, a few days earlier. I was a little bit concerned about the whole thing, and worried about whether this is normal or not. And
So it sounds as if the way that you describe it, there was a lot that things were improving, that was okay, but when they seemed to disimprove, that was more difficult for you. Am I picking that up correctly?
Yes. Not quite sure if this is, a normal part of the process or not, because, and this was more affecting one eye than the other. The left eye I felt, had gotten worse, whereas the right eye was getting better. So, there was that concern.
Mm. And I'm curious, Julie, what is it in this session that you want to explore in more depth in this session?
I suppose it's more about just maybe coming to terms with these feelings, and and to maybe to also stop the oh, but maybe if you had done this, or maybe if you hadn't done that, things might be different. I think it's more that maybe reducing that judgment, or maybe blame, that I feel is a little bit there.
Mm. So by the end of this session, there is something about coming to terms with the feelings that have arisen from the last couple of weeks, and also something around stopping the self-judgment and the self-blame, and that maybe if I had, or maybe I should, type of voice.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
And if you were to imagine ourselves now in 30 minutes time having got that, how would you know you have it?
I think it would be just a sense of more peace, and a bit more calm, and less of this chatter, this mental chatter.
And when you experience more peace and more calm and less mental chatter, what's that like for you?
It's just peaceful. It's peaceful. It's it's the sense of like, I've done the, I did the right thing, or I don't have to sort of question myself. The sense of I don't know if contentment is the right word, but I guess it's more just peace.
And I'm curious where you feel peace in your body, if at all.
That's a good question. Where do I feel peace? I think in my heart. Yeah. Just a sense of sort of okayness, and like everything's good.
Everything's good, a sense of okayness, and that sense in your heart that all is good. I know it's pretty, you've had the last couple of weeks have changed quite a bit for you. But if you were to articulate why this is really important for you now to address, what's coming up for you?
I guess it's, this whole sort of, I don't know, whether it's second guessing myself, or this, this kind of mental sort of, self-talk about, I mean, if I think life would just be so much more peaceful if if it wasn't there, right? Yeah. And yeah, I think, I think I'm one of these people that can overthink things or can overanalyze things, as you well know. And yes, I think just yeah, trying to free myself of some of that is important, just for general sort of well-being and peace of mind.
You know that word, as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing peace of mind, your well-being, it and free from things that get in the way of that. I'm wondering what value that you're tapping into there that's important to you. It feels as if something's really important.
I think one of the values, or one of my values is around harmony. That it, and yeah, it's this inner harmony, right? When you have that mental chatter going on, it's not harmonious. Yeah, because there is that going on. So I think it's around harmony.
And how do you see that harmony connecting with the peace you've been describing, and peace of mind?
Well, it's related. I mean, when you're peaceful, when I'm peaceful, then I am in harmony with my surroundings, and and vice versa, right? If I don't have that, inner harmony, then peace is disturbed.
So it's
whether that's an outer that can be an outer conflict with somebody, right? Which disturbs the harmony and the peace, or it can be an inner, sort of an inner conflict, or an inner sort of misalignment. That causes then that disharmony and state of not being peaceful.
I don't know if this is true, Julie, but it sounds as if this example that you have today for us to explore around the feelings and stopping the self-talk is a microcosm for a way of exploring this harmony and peace and this inner and outer conflict you've been describing. I'm wondering what, if anything, resonates with you about that impression I'm getting.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is, it is, yeah, it is, it certainly is like I say, a microcosm of, of sort of, yeah, a broader topic around sort of, peace and harmony and, conflict and, yeah, and it's, and this is how it's showing up currently.
So Julie, thank you for setting the context for our conversation and being so willing to dive in and explore it. And I'm wondering where you would like to dive in first so we can explore this matter in more depth in this session. Where would you like to start?
It's a good question. Where would I like to start? I think it's around the sort of, the voices, the should have not, that kind of thing. Much as I don't necessarily want to give them more airtime, but yeah, it's yeah, it's something to do with, yeah, maybe we can start with an exploration somewhere there.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice as you're even naming that. I'm wondering, what's that hesitation?
I guess the hesitation is not wanting to, like spend more time, even like, going over, what I think I should have or shouldn't have done. It is what it is. And really, is it worth, talking about, what I should have done this or I shouldn't have done that. I don't know, whether that would have made any difference, really. So, yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's where it's coming from.
And yet, that's the important place to put, that's what you've named as where to start. Despite that hesitation. Is that...
Yeah, but even as I say that now, and I said, yeah, actually it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And it's true, actually, it doesn't matter, really, because I don't know if doing those things would have made a difference or not, really. So, why speculate, or why sort of, why berate myself for these things?
Yeah, great. It's a good question. And I'm wondering what other questions that there are, because I know you have a lot of questions. What other questions would it be helpful to explore some other questions you could ask yourself that might give you more, help you get learning from this experience?
Yeah, sure. We could certainly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, what's the point? Yeah, what's the point of talking down to myself about this? Because, like I said, it is what it is, right? And yeah, I can't necessarily do anything I can't do anything different. Yeah, and I also think what's coming to mind for me is also maybe something around expectations, yeah. Patience isn't necessarily my strong suit. So yeah, I think this perhaps I had some expectations about myself or the healing or whatever it was that I wasn't really aware of. It was interesting because I went so last Monday, so it was a few days, I think 5 days after the procedure, I went to the doctor's office to get the contact lens removed because they put this lens to protect your eye, and at the clinic, they have this chart of letters, when you go and get your eye tested, and she was asking, oh, can you see anything? And I was like, yes, I can read those letters. And she's like, oh, that's really great. She said, that's great. A lot of people, majority of people come in, and she said, and after 5 days, they can hardly see anything. A lot of them, she said, some people can barely, just about open their eyes. So the fact that you can actually read the letters is great. There's only very few people that can do that. So I was kind of, I don't know, maybe proud, or there was something there about, oh, yeah. Now, when I think about it, there was something around, yeah, some kind of it seems silly, like proud of being able to read those letters already after 5 days, type of thing going on. So then when a few days later, when I could hardly see anything, then yeah, it felt a bit like, oh, now I'm sliding backward.
And sliding backward meant what?
what comes to mind is sort of, oh my God, what happened? It's like I was doing so well and now I'm not. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with me? Or yeah. Yeah, what's gone wrong, or what's going wrong, or why am I falling back, or falling, yeah. Why is it deteriorating when I was making such good progress a few days ago?
So those voices of fear and judgment and self-blame have a lot of concerns. They're sound worried for you, and they ask a certain quality of question by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering what that voice of compassion and self and peace, that voice of peace and compassion that you mentioned, and calm, what kind of questions that voice would ask of you?
I think that voice would ask, how long has, or would ask me to, think about what I've done, right? Basically, with regards to my eyes, it's like, think about what you've done, and basically, you're cutting your eye open, or yes, it's all very progressive nowadays and stuff, but still it is invasive. It is an invasive procedure on a very sensitive part of your body, part of the body. So yeah, that healing takes time, and I can't expect my body to sort of heal or get over it, within a week or two. Yeah, maybe it does happen for some people, but actually for the norm, it's probably more like 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, to just consider that, and to just have some patience with myself, and with my, yeah, to not stress about it, and to just let my body take its time to heal itself. Because it knows how to heal itself, but it does take a little bit of time.
Your body knows how to heal itself, and it takes time. So given that, what's your sense of the most loving, patient things that you could say to yourself to quieten that mental chatter as the next 3 to 4 weeks unfold?
that I think what I could say to myself is that my body is doing its best. It's it's it knows what to do, and it's doing its best. To not be impatient or to have such maybe high expectations of myself. Things, before I, when I went for this, surgery, or obviously, the doctor said, it's they were like, this is really, very sort of tried and true, method, it's been done, for decades now, and it's really, it's a very successful procedure, and just to trust that they knew what they were doing, and that my body knows what it's doing, and that everything will be fine. I guess just to have that trust or that faith, that things will be fine.
Mm. Yeah, trust, faith. Anything else, Julie?
I think that's it. Just to maybe just to slow down. Just to take things easy, and and not stress.
Mm. Take things easy, not stress. So we have a few more minutes before we close the session, but you mentioned that success for you from this session would be a sense of more peace and more calm, and less mental chatter. I'm wondering where you're at in that journey at this point.
Good. I feel a lot more reassured, or a lot calmer. About the process, and it's true. It will work out, and my body knows what it's doing, and so just a lot more at peace with what's happening.
Yeah. You know that I ask this a lot in my sessions, so you won't be surprised to hear this question coming. But I'm curious to know what you're learning about yourself at this point as a result of our conversation today.
I think the biggest thing is something to do with trust, and just trusting the process, even though I can't see it, and just having faith that things will work out for the best. Yeah, it's sort of, bringing that, I think it's sort of just bringing that home at a deeper level.
And what we mentioned earlier about this kind of situation being a microcosm for some of the other internal and external conflicts that occur that can disrupt that harmony and peace of mind. I'm wondering what opportunities you might be seeing for bringing that insight about trust into other contexts.
Interesting. I guess it's maybe around I mean, yeah, even though we sometimes say, oh yeah, things happen for a reason, whatever, when something happens, we often say, oh yeah, that it happens for a reason. And yeah, really, yes, it is. And often, and it is true, right? It really is that, right? When things happen, there is often a greater, or there is a reason behind it that we're often, not aware of at the time when it's happening, and it's often maybe then only with hindsight one can see that. So yeah, I think it's just, just bringing that awareness, as you said, to the wider context, and just to know that, okay, whatever that might be going on sometimes, in the broader world, or in my broader sort of context, is happening for a reason, and there is something to be learned or gained from it.
It'll be really interesting to see how that pans out. I'll be fascinated to learn. But so Julie, as you kind of see yourself rolling through over the next 3 to 4 weeks, as this process unfolds, as it does, what if anything do you see potentially getting in the way of staying connected with that sense of trust?
I think it's just about reminding myself to be patient, to be patient, that things, I would say good things take time, that it's just about being patient, and maybe just kind of sometimes breathing into that discomfort of because like I said, patience isn't necessarily my strong suit, but sort of just maybe breathing into that discomfort whenever I'm sort of starting to feel impatient, is just to remind myself of that.
So reminding yourself of good things take time, and breathing into the discomfort when you feel it.
Yeah.
As we just come to the last minute or two of our session, Julie, I really want to publicly, because this is public, acknowledge you for your courage and determination to really face those voices of fear and blame and judgment and challenge them and find other ways, tap into that sense of trust for yourself. It's inspiring to hear you articulate that. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable and courageous.
Thank you, Rachel, for the fantastic coaching and for helping me get to a better place.
How would you like to close the session?
I'm very happy to end it here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Wonderful listening to you in dialogue. And Julie, I'd like to check with you first. How was the session for you?
Great. I think Rachel did an amazing job, as she always does. I felt she was very present. Very present with me. She asked a lot of great questions. I felt very understood. Yeah, I think that's would sum it up.
Yeah, a lot of what you were saying, Julie, some of the participants and even I was feeling like those things resonate with me too. Like many times the self-talk shows up really at inappropriate times when we become impatient. So thank you for taking us along on your journey and sharing a bit of you with us.
Thank you.
Rachel, how was the session? How did that go for you?
For me, I was delighted that both Julie and I were able to just be with one another as we are, and not be distracted by the fact that there is an audience. And I know that for me, it's a big sign of a big marker for me of my own growth and expansion as a person and as a coach, because certainly there's been times when that has not been the case. I've gotten my own way with that negative self-talk that Julie was articulating myself, being worried about what will other people think and then all that kind of thing. So I'm thrilled that we were both present for one another, and that wasn't a factor that got in the way.
And thank you, Rachel. And before I continue talking with you, I would like to say to our participants, bearing in mind the time, Rachel may not be, or I may not be able to take any questions, but please type your questions in, or you may send it directly to Rachel. She will put the details into the chat. And you create a blog or find some way to answer your questions. And please give us some feedback onto the chat. We'd love to hear your comments on the session. Or at least say what you're taking away from the session. We'd also love to hear that. Also, I want to say that, Rachel runs this program on mental fitness. and quite good with working with self-talk and saboteurs and, patterns of thinking. She'll give you her details where you can check that out.
Yep. So I popped my email in, and also the link to that into the chat if anybody's interested.
Okay. Thanks, Rachel. I also love the flow of the conversation between you and Julie. And I love that turnaround piece when you did the lovely piece, very insightful on if that was what the self-talk, and you bear in mind harmony and compassion and patience, what would the questions to you be? Oh, it was lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think
Kamal, is there any questions showing up or anything? Sorry, go ahead, Julie. We have a time delay. I can feel it.
Julie, you wanted to come say something?
Sorry, Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel was going to say something, and you, Kamal.
Go ahead, Kamal.
I don't see many questions, but I do see quite a lot of appreciation and the points that everybody has sort of picked up from this conversation on the pace, on the questions, the articulation of questions in particular. And I think it's sort of resonated well with quite a lot of people. And I have really enjoyed the conversation, and especially that I wasn't seeing and I was just focused on listening. I think that was also a very good experience. Yeah. So Cynthia is saying that I was.
Rachel, I'll leave you to round up.
Yeah.
No, complete your thought, Kamal.
No, I was just reading out what Cynthia has written about, like, she was concerned that how we'd be able to read the expression and, nonverbal language because the cameras were off. So I think she's resonating on the same thing, that just focusing on the listening and tonal quality can really help us, in the conversation.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing with the audio visual, and there is quite a lot of research to suggest that we listen better when the cameras are off, and we can get a little bit less distracted as coaches, and yet then we're missing, as we are missing visual cues as well. So it's, there are pros and cons. Yeah.
I was going to say, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're talking about, like, my issue is a visual issue, right? Not being able to see, not being able to see properly. So, I can see, like, the chats coming in, but I can't read them at all. So, it's really interesting. I know, I felt very much heard, in the conversation. So thank you, Rachel.
Well, Julie, there, I know you can't read it, but there's a lot of love and appreciation for you in the chat, for being so brave and open and vulnerable and bringing real things to the sessions. So thank you. And thank you to everybody. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Kamal. And everybody that's been on the call for our tapping into our learning journey together. We can all, when one of us learns, all of us can learn, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Please do stay with us for the oncoming weeks. See you all later. Thank you, Rachel and Julie. Bye, Cindy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.